Hey, have you ever heard of ADHD? Well, I'm going to tell you all about it. Come join me in my classroom. ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder and is characterized by three main points: response inhibition, lack of sustained attention, and hyperactivity. So in today's class, we're not really going to go into the symptomology of ADHD. We're more looking at how does the brain function in ADHD. When we look at the symptomology of ADHD, it's very similar to the case of Phineas Gage, who had an ablated prefrontal cortex. This indicates that there is a prefrontal region implicated in ADHD. As you might remember, the prefrontal cortex is the area that is critical to reward-based decision-making, alongside with dopamine. The regions of the prefrontal cortex receive projections from the midbrain dopamine neurons, such as the ventral tegmental area. People with ADHD have impaired normal functioning of the prefrontal cortex by low levels of dopamine receptor stimulation. So what role does dopamine play in the prefrontal cortex? In the prefrontal cortex, dopamine reinforces complex higher-order behaviors such as decision-making, attention, and behavioral flexibility. In people with ADHD, there are mainly two issues that happen with dopamine in the prefrontal cortex. The first issue is that the dopamine transporters are too efficient, so the reuptake of dopamine is very fast and it doesn't give it enough time to interact with the neurons or to have an effect. Therefore, we can't have the biological operant conditioning or reinforcement of behaviors. The second issue is that a dopamine receptor, D4, could have a mutation, making it less sensitive to dopamine. Therefore, there are also other regions of the brain that are involved in ADHD, such as the basal ganglia and the cerebellum. This would explain the potential motor deficits.